All right, very nicely, we have come to the end of the define phase. So 20% of the knowledge and tools and tasks in order to execute and conduct a good Lean Six Sigma project. So let's do some wrap up and talk about some actions, and then we'll get into the measure phase. All right, so back to our high level map. We've got our 5 phases. And like I just said, right, we're got 20% of the way there. We've looked at the project charter. We get our resources, our team put together, and we've done a quick look at what are the savings we can bring to the business through cost of poor quality savings. Here we have the more detailed flowchart for the define phase. So we talked about we start with the business imperative. Why would we want to do an improvement effort, and where would that improvement effort focus? In the example we ran through, that we want to lower material costs. And then we looked at the tree diagram and how we went across and figured out that, hey, the first project we're going to work on is punch press scrap. And we went through many levels in order to get there. Once we decide on the effort, a belt like yourself would be assigned as the lead. All right, some of the other activities we can kind of do in different orders, but who are the stakeholders so that we can make sure that all of leadership, anyone that can say no, is in back of the effort, again, pointing back to the business case of why we need to fix the process in order to fix the output. We talked about chartering and all the elements of a good charter, your team, a timeline, the objective statement, restating the business case as the problem statement. Then I've got two boxes here of scoping. So looking at sort of the horizontal boundaries, which would again come from your tree diagram. Are we going to work on all products, one product, right? In the case of the material cost, well, I could look at all scrap, but hey, we decided that let's start with the scrap produced on this particular production line on this particular machine. And then we talked about using a high-level process map as the vertical boundaries of the process improvement that I'm going to do. What's the first step and what's the last step? And I'm going to focus on everything in between. And then we can adjust those boundaries as we need to if we find that we need to go upstream or downstream to solve the problem. Finally, we're going to estimate the value to the business. What costs of poor quality are we going to eliminate? And we then have a formal approval. Is the charter approved or not? Right, if yes, we're going to assemble the team and launch, and then we're ready for the measure phase. If we find out maybe there's really no value, we can't decide on the scope, stakeholders don't think it's the right thing to work on. So if we fail at any of these steps, we might go back and, okay, let's pick out a different business case and bring that one forward. So at the end, we are now ready to launch the project with our team, and we will move in the next sections into tools of the measure phase. All right, so here are a few of what I think are some good goals for the define phase. Right, we're going to identify what is the process that we're going to improve. So again, we're using right your business case, tree diagrams. What is the very specific high-level piece of the flow that we're going to go after? right? We kind of put a contract together through the use of the charter that says exactly uh, who's going to work on, lead the effort, who's going to sponsor the effort, and what we think the original timeline and cost benefit are as uh, defined in that charter. Right? And then at the completion of the define phase, we've got a good description of the process, why, the thing that we're going to fix, right? That's creating the waste in the business. So if we can really answer those 3 bullet points, and I've got some more checklists coming up, we've done a good job completing the define phase. Here's an action item list you can use to plan and execute the define activities. We're going to do some business case development. We're going to develop a high-level process flow. Right, we're going to put together the charter that has all these elements, and then we're going to look at what the return on investment. So if I fix the item that we have defined in the objective, what will the impact be to, right, the customer, the business, or the employee, right, our 3 voices. Right, so the people side of the equation, how do we get there? Change is not simple task. We're trying to convince people to stop a current behavior and change to a different behavior uh, using a data driven approach. So it requires you as the team lead to right, take some risk, be tenacious, be courageous. You've got the competencies as a result of this course to use that data driven approach. Do be disciplined to follow the process. There's always the temptation to skip steps, to move ahead, to just fix it. We do want to make sure that we are really addressing root causes and that we've used the formality of the DMAIC process to get to that point. Right, you yourself are going to have to embrace change and learning, and hopefully uh, your teammates, your sponsor, and right, the others that you touch as a in the course of doing the project will do so as well. The good news is you then become also sort of an instructor or teacher for the organization. So we showed you so far how to do a Pareto chart. Your teammates probably don't know what that is. And so when we put one together, and you're going to show it in a team meeting, you'll have to go in and describe and bring everybody's competency up to the tools that we're going to use to make decisions. And then in the end, hey, what works, what doesn't work, sharing amongst your peers of the best way to navigate through the process in your particular situation. So again, based on many decades of experience, what types of roadblocks might you run into in the define phase? Right, the first and the last bullet are linked. Uh, hey, really nail the project charter. Have a good problem statement, a good objective, a good timeline. Pick out some good subject matter experts. That's really the big key to success. Right, goes without saying that we're linked to some business imperative, so I should be able to talk about the voice of the customer, voice of the business, voice of the employee, um, imperatives that are linked to fixing the objective in my charter. A big one out of the gate, if you set up your first team meetings and you get rather marginal attendance, it's time to go to write the sponsor and say, uh, hey, if this is important, I need my experts to help me. So uh, that checks for the commitment, in order to make the project happen. So definitely that should be an early warning sign that you need better backing. Avoid the trap, again, back to the scope and the charter. You'll get a lot of opinions of people. Oh, I know how to fix that, right? Just go and do that. Well, that's not data. And it's going to take a while to get the disciplined approach to not jump to the improve phase, right? And scope, scope, scope. Avoid scope creep at all costs, unless we're willing to take a step back and look at the charter and go, okay, if we're going to rescope it in this fashion, then this is how we have to reshape the activities, and these are the resources we need to do that. All right, so a more detailed checklist than the one we showed a few slides ago. Just some sort of thought starters. Hey, did you at least think about this? In all of the materials we're going to show you, we're giving you the most generic, well-tuned path through the DMAIC process. Now, do you have to use every single graph chart in every single project? Probably not. My advice in the beginning is always err on the side of doing a little bit extra. What I always say is, with the tools we have today, if you make a chart or a graph and you don't end up using it in your final presentation, big deal. It took 5 or 10 minutes to put it together with all the technology that we have. So you always, you can use this as just a primer to your Tollgate review. If you can answer these questions, then you've done a good solid job of completing everything you need to in the define phase. All right, so we're ready to move out of define phase and into measure. So we've got a little project plan put together. Again, DMAIC naturally puts itself into sort of project management 101. I've got 5 phases, 5 milestones. I can put timing to the entry and exit of each one of those phases, or I can work backwards. When do I need to have my solutions in place, and right back into what the dates need to be in order to get there. Right, we should have addressed any potential roadblocks with our sponsor and stakeholders. We don't want these to continue to build and pull the project back from moving forward. All right, and hey, step and repeat. Well, hopefully you'll do lots of defined phases and charters as you move forward in your career. Just a little extra here. The training material that we have for you here is laid out to support the agreed upon body of knowledge for what a black belt should know. And so these are all the elements that are included and line up with the defined phase. You can probably remember now touching on these different topics. If you want to ever review any of these, you can go to the chapter that they're in, and even you could fast forward to that specific element in the training module.